Greetings to all the aspirants present out there. This is Chandigarh Civil Services. Aspirants, we have already started one series of the journal studies related to your Himachal Pradesh mains examination, where in this particular series we have already covered that is your governance in Himachal Pradesh, and the second topic that is your Himachal Pradesh Public Service Guarantee Act. So that means so far we had covered these two topics in this particular series. So continuing that particular series further, in this particular session we are going to have a discussion about the Right to Information Act. So let's see what exactly the Right to Information is emphasizing. See, when we talk about your right to information, it is one of the most path-breaking legislation where it has marched from the darkness of secrecy to the dawn of transparency. So that means this particular act has played a very, very crucial role. When we talk about your Himachal Pradesh Right to Services Guarantee Act, where the government is under obligation, that means government has to provide certain services to the people, whereas under this RTI Act, the government is also under the obligation where it has to provide the certain information to the public domain. So that means in order to ensure the transparency and accountability, the right to information also adhere. So that means the basic component है good governance के, that is accountability and transparency, the right to information also adhere very exhaustively. And yes, when we talk about your right to information, yes, it is not explicitly mentioned in the Constitution of India. That means Constitution may explicitly it's not mentioned, it is not a fundamental right. But yes, there are the certain articles in which in implicit way it is telling about the certain things. That is the Article 19(1)(a), that is freedom of speech and expression. Article 21, that is right to life and personal liberty. So these two rights in the Constitution of India inherent within the scope of right to information. And yes, at the global level also, the UN Declaration of the Human Rights is also talking about a right to receive and impart information. That means every citizen is under the obligation that it can receive the information, and the government is also under obligation where they have to impart the information in the public domain. And yes, there are the certain Supreme Court cases also where they reiterate the concept, that is the right to know as a fundamental right. So that means various cases, and this is very important, which you can quote while your mains answer writing, that is your Raj Narayan case, SP Gupta case and Dinesh Trivedi case, where they have asserted that right to know is a fundamental right. And yes, when we talk about Right to Information Act 2005, it is implemented at the various level. That is your at all the level, whether it's a center, state or at the local level. Along with this, other bodies which are owned and controlled are substantially financed by the government. They are also coming under the ambit of RTI Act 2005. So these are the certain aspects related to your RTI. Next, when we talk about the RTI, it has not created any new bureaucracy in order for the implementation part. So that means it has tasked and mandated all the officials in every office to change their attitude and perform their duties. So that means there is no separate any entity which is formulated under this act. Next, when we talk about its implementation part, the Information Commission is one of the highest authority in the country where it has to mandate, it has to provide the information as per the provision of the act. Along with this, when it is providing information, so what exactly it is telling? That is the participatory democracy. That means it is again strengthening your democracy. जैसे आपका Services Act कर रहा था, in the similar manner, your Right to Information Act is also strengthening your participatory democracy. Along with this, it is also ushering in the people a centered governance. Again, it is a component of the good governance. So again, it is adding more strength to the governance part also. And yes, when we talk about your weaker and poor section of the society, under the RTI, they can also seek the information from the government regarding the various social schemes. So that means it is empowering your weaker and poor section of the society. And yes, when we dig into the historically, then yes, this RTI is proved to be a very good weapon in order to expose various wrongdoings. That is, for example, whether it's a Commonwealth Games, allocation of the 2G spectrum and coal blocks, it did a lot of things which has exposed all the wrongdoing. Along with this, it is making your government accountable, again component of your good governance. So that means it improved the decision making by the public authority by removing all the unnecessary secrecy. So that means it has moved from that darkness phase of secrecy when the government is considering all the information under the darkness. Now it is bringing under the public domain. Next, when we talk about your Right to Information Act in the Himachal Pradesh context, in the similar manner, when this was formulated, Himachal government has also mandatory that for all the government organization in the Himachal Pradesh, they have to provide the information. So that means Right to Information Act in the Himachal Pradesh has also come into the form in the form of the Right to Information Act. So that means all the public authority which are at the district level, they are appointing your special officers, that is your public information officers, that is your PIOs, where they have to provide the basic requirement of RTI regime in the Himachal Pradesh. Along with this, the nodal agency, this is very important, that is nodal agency for the implementation of the RTI Act is your Department of Administrative Reform. So these are the certain things which is related to your Right to Information Act in context of your Himachal Pradesh. Next, when we talk about your Right to Information, that is our Himachal Pradesh Right to Information rules, then it is clearly mentioned, that is under the section 27 and 28 of the RTI 2005, where it has empowered that the state government and other competitive authorities कि वही जो है वो rules बनाएंगे. So under the pursuance of these rules, that is your section 27 and 28, the government of Himachal Pradesh and other competitive authorities, that is Himachal Pradesh Vidhan Sabha and High Court of Himachal Pradesh, have made the rules. So that means all the rules which is related to the Himachal Pradesh Right to Information, it is implemented or made by the three bodies, that is your government of Himachal Pradesh Vidhan Sabha, and yes, your High Court of Himachal Pradesh. And yes, this has notified on 21st Jan 2006. So these are the certain rules how the framing of the Himachal Pradesh Right to Information Act has been formulated. Next, when we talk about the salient feature of the Himachal Pradesh Right to Information Rules 2006, how the applicant can file the information. So that means there is a set procedure. First, it has to require to make an application to the PIO. So that means they have to file an application. And yes, application for the fee which is charged is just rupees 10, whereas the person who is belonging to the BPL category, they are not required to pay any kind of fee. Along with this, if the applicant want to file or want to seek the information regarding the various subjects, so that means he has to file the application in a very separate term. So that means each subject there must be a separate application. So that means under this particular act, under this particular rules, one application will not be valid for all the subjects. So that means for each subject and each year, one has to make a separate application. So that means जो भी information चाहिए उसके लिए separate information you have to, separate application you have to bring. Along with this, what are the information the applicant is asking? The government is under obligation where they have to provide the authenticated information with the stamp. So that means this is the whole procedure where they are seeking the information. Along with this, when we talk about the challenges in the RTI Act at the state and central level, ये बिल्कुल same है जैसे we have talked about your Himachal Pradesh Services Act, Services Guarantee Act. So that means all the lacunas जो हमने यहाँ पे देखे थे similar can be seen here also. First, that is same, that is most of the people are unaware about this weapon. That is your lack of awareness is there. Next, there is no public interest. That means most of the socialist group or your political group, they are using it as a vindictive tool. That is just to take the revenge, and sometimes this is the huge misuse of this particular law, which is making, or sometimes they are asking for a desperate and very voluminous information. So that means there is no public interest. Sometimes they are just filing the information in order to get the, in order to take the vindictive. So that means this is quite misuse of this particular law. And yes, when we talk about the at the higher level, most of the information that is related to your national security or related to your official security, most of the time under the name of these two things, the information is denied to the applicants. So that means higher level information of the government is not available at the public domain. So that means it is ineffective at the higher level. Next, there is a clogging of the RTI system. That means a lot of the people are using or misusing it, and because of which there is a lot of RTI is being filed, because of which there is not a time-bound redressal of the grievances. Along with this, the Information Commission is not having the adequate authority. So that means they are lacking the authority in order to enforce their decision. So these are the certain lacunas which is related to the right to information, whether at the central level or Himachal Pradesh state government. Yes, but so far when we talk about the Right to Information Act, since its implementation, it has done a lot of good things also. That is, first, the information documents are all available on the website of the Commission. That means everything is made online. And the manual of the state government, that is the State Information Commission, is also available on the online site. That is under the section 41B of the RTI 2005. So that means everything is your computerized. That means all the computerized system of the legislation is being served in the platter of your public domain. Along with this, there is a periodic hearing. So that means periodic hearing in order to remove the coagulation of your RTI acts. Along with this, first state, Himachal Pradesh is the first state in order to start the online submission of the queries and replies. So that means you don't have to go into the particular department. All the queries and replies can be made through the online submission. Along with this, 97 public authorities has been brought under the domain of this particular act. So that means RTI Act is playing a very, very crucial role when it comes to curb the corruption part. And yes, in the context of the RTI, in the Himachal Pradesh government also, they are doing a lot of good work, but yes, there are the certain things, there are certain lacunas which need to be filled up in the coming future. So that means this was about your RTI Act in related to your Himachal Pradesh government. So stay connected and tuned